Hi, everyone. Good day, and welcome once again to this very amazing session at Haler's Global. So, we're here to talk about something very unique, something very sensitive, and something very amazing that has to do with each and every one of us. Either you're a student, either you're a graduate, either you're serving in the Nigerian Youth Service Corps, or you're someone doing a 9 to 5. This is something that each and every one of us have had to experience in one way or the other in our lives. So it's a very huge place to be. All right. So I'm gonna introduce myself very briefly. I'm Eunice Okon, and I'm a freelancer. I'm a digital marketing expert, and I teach people and businesses how to make money. You could just put it that way. So I'll quickly run through this because it's going to be very educative. I have a lot of things to share with you based on the topic today, and I would like you all to get so much value from where this is coming from. And please, at the end of the lesson, you could drop your questions for me in the chat, or you could send them, via my DM, or you could drop them on Haley's Global platform. I'm gonna go back there and have a look. So we're gonna start. We're not gonna waste so much time because it's very important for us to get over this. So I'll start by sharing my screen so that we have the slides show up for each and every one of us to have a look. Okay. So that's it. So if you're seeing my screen, then you should see something like this. So this is what we're talking about today. 10 lessons from freelancing. So I'm going to break this down into three aspects. So we'll talk about the good, we'll talk about the challenges, and we'll talk about the balance. Now, I understand that a lot of people do not understand what freelancing is, or you might have heard of the word freelancing, or you actually have an idea of what it is. But then there are aspects of freelancing you probably have not understood, even if you've experienced. So, this is what I mean. You could be a freelancer, or you could be someone who is working remotely, let me put that way. But there are some things that happen to you in the course of your work, or in the course of you interacting with people, or working with clients, or working with teams, that you really do not understand. And sometimes you come across some challenges and some things you really do not have a grasp about. So today we're going to talk about those lessons and how they help to shape you, basically. So as a freelancer myself, I've had to go through all the stages of what I'm going to teach you. So I'm teaching you not just theoretical, but I'm teaching you something from a wealth of experience. Aside from me, and aside from the people that I have trained that have spoken to me about their own experiences, I had come up with all of this put together. Okay. So quickly introducing myself again, I'm Eunice. I'm a freelance digital skills coach and a business consultant. So I basically build strategies, I create content, I offer executive support for different clients and different businesses. So like I said, today we're talking about the lessons from freelancing, the benefits, the challenges of freelancing, the benefits of freelancing, and the realities and the balance, the way we could balance our lives, the way we could balance our income, the way we could balance our finances, and everything that revolves around freelancing. Now, freelancing is one of the fastest growing global opportunities. That is something each and every one of us knows. Everyone wants to be a freelancer. Everyone wants to earn in foreign currencies. Either you're earning in Canadian dollar, either you're earning in the US dollar, either you're earning in pounds, either you're earning in euros. It totally depends on what you're looking for and your kind of market. That's your target audience. So now freelancing gives you freedom, it gives you flexibility, it gives you opportunities, and it also comes with its own challenges because, of course, nothing is free in total. So you have to still come off with some things that kind of tend to draw you back, some things that kind of make you question what you're doing, some things that kind of make you feel like, okay, I think I don't want to be here anymore. I think I'm tired. I just want to throw in the towel and just walk away. But today, I'm going to make you understand that all of those aspects of your journey as a freelancer kind of helps to strengthen you and make you a better version of the freelancer that you are, regardless of everything. So this lessons cut across all kinds of freelancing. Either you're a virtual assistant, either you're a graphics designer, either you're a no-code expert, either you're a UI UX designer, either you're a software developer, either you're a web builder, whatever it is you are, either you're a copywriter, either you're a tutor, whatever it is you are, these lessons apply to each and every aspect of freelancing. Let's get right into it. Now, the very first lesson, very first, every single one of us would experience is freedom of choice. Freelancing gives you a blank check. Okay, it makes you have options. So you get to choose your projects first, you get to choose your clients, and you get to choose the industries. You're not streamlined. It's not like a regular 9 to 5 where you're asked to apply for a role of what's it called? Let's say a role of a secretary or a role of a salesman or a role of a project manager. It doesn't give you a specific role to apply for. So when you're starting out your journey in freelancing, you actually have options. What do you want to do? You now make the choice. Okay, I want to be um, a customer representative manager. Or I want to be a customer success manager. Or I want to be a customer support specialist. Whatever you want to be, your choice. Okay, you also have a choice to choose the clients you work with. I have a few of my friends and a few of the colleagues I work with. They'll always tell you that they can only work for US clients. They have that preference. Okay, some people tell you I could only work for clients in the Philippines. Some people tell you I can only work for clients in Sweden. Some people tell you I can only work for clients in the UK. All right, there are people that say, okay, no, I can work for clients here, here, and here, and nowhere else. So it depends on you as a person. And now the industries you want to work for. Do you want to work for startups? Do you want to work for tech industries? Do you want to work for e-commerce? Do you want to work for logistics? Do you want to work for banking? Do you want to work for infrastructure? Do you want to work for real estate? It depends on what you want. Now, so this gives you that choice, that freedom. And then one of the beautiful things about the freedom is today you could be working for a fashion blog and tomorrow you could be working on a tech project. It depends. It depends on what you choose. So basically, it gives you that sense of freedom of choice. You're not restricted. You don't have boundaries. You could just walk around things and, make these things work for you in the best possible ways. Now, the second most important lesson is unlimited earning potential. You do not have a fixed salary, my darlings. You do not have a fixed salary. One thing I personally love about freelancing is my income could rise as much as $1,000 today, and it could drop as much as $0 tomorrow. That's the funny thing. But I love that because it kind of helps you be very financially sensitive to financial management. So you're financially sensitive, you're money wise in spending, you're prudent because you know that if you get a gig that pays you $1,500 today or this month, next month you may go with no gig, or the next couple of months, 2-3 months, you may not have a gig that pays you even up to $200. So that's one of the most important lessons for me I have learned as a freelancer for over 4 years now. Okay, you have unlimited earning potential. So which means your income isn't capped to a fixed salary. More skill plus effort earns you more. So till tomorrow, I always tell people that I keep learning and unlearning and relearning and expanding how much I know, regardless of what I currently do. Because if I have more skills, I would have more opportunities shown to me or opportunities I may find myself, then I would have to earn more based on all the new things that I know. So as a beginner, most of the beginners I know on Upwork or on any other freelance platform, they start at a $5 per hour rate. But I know people that earn $25 per hour. I know people that earn $50 per hour, depending on your skill, depending on the customer's recommendation or the client's reviews about you, and depending on how good you are at what you do. Okay. Now, the next lesson I learned is flexibility of time and location. You could work anywhere. Just make sure you have your laptop or your iPad or your tab or whatever it is you're using to work. Make sure you have a stable internet connection. Make sure you have a power source, something that could power your PC or whatever it is you're using. Then be comfortable. That's it. So you could be on a plane and you could be working. You could be in Maldives with, some friends, enjoying your vacation, and you could be working. You could even go to a cafe. Maybe you're out to have coffee in the morning and you're there and you could be working. You could even, you basically work at your pace. Just Be comfortable. That's it. Just find a place that makes you comfortable and a place that allows you the opportunity to work the way you should, and you're good to go. So this is why freelancing is very, very popular among students. They are not restricted to not showing up in classes, or not having to attend their lectures in time, or all of that stuff. They are very flexible with the time. So they get to choose, like I said in the very first point, you get to choose the kind of clients you work with to suit your own lifestyle. So if you work with the clients in the US, you're going to be working from say 2 p.m. depending on the time zone difference, from 2 p.m. or from 4 p.m. or from 6 p.m., Nigerian time. So it kind of gives you that flexibility. So your mornings could be for school hours, then your evenings could be for work. So that's one of the sweetest lessons about freelancing. Now, the fourth lesson is self-discipline is not negotiable. Now, this is more of a challenge because there are a lot of people that cannot take initiative themselves to be self-disciplined. You're not going to have a boss to boss you around. You're not going to have someone that says, sit down, it's time to work. You're not going to have someone that says, hey, you're supposed to wake at 8 because the work starts by 9. There's no one that's going to do that. So you are your own boss, in quote. You have to be able to fix your schedule and make sure that whatever you do kind of works with your schedule. Now, I'm going to give an example. So for me, there are examples here that I placed. I said you could use Google Calendar, you could use Notion, you could use Trello to structure your week. For me, I use Google Calendar. So every tiny mini detail goes on my calendar. That's very important. I tell my assistant that if someone sends you a message and says he or she wants to speak with me, even if it's just for a chit chat, you have to find time in my calendar and put it in, because if it's not on my calendar, then it's not important. That's how busy it gets. So you're going to see my calendar has my lunch time, my bath time, my feeding time, the time I go for my car wash, the time I go to make my hair in the salon. It looks like I'm wasting so much time, but it kind of keeps me in check, because I don't want to go to the salon when I have work, or I don't want to um go just grab a bite or just get some snacks when I'm supposed to be on a team meeting, or a call. I don't want that to happen. So for me, everything goes on the calendar, from the time I wake to the time I say my prayers to the time I hit the gym and to the time I do every other thing within the course of my day. They stay on the calendar, and it's a fixed place. Like, it doesn't shift, except I decide that, okay, I'm not going to do this today, so you could take it out. Then my assistant does that. So self-discipline is very important, and it's one of the greatest lessons you can ever learn as a freelancer. You have to be consciously self-disciplined. You cannot not have self-discipline, if there's a word like that. So we're going to go on to the next lesson. Now, lesson 5 says you're the CEO of yourself. Freelancing teaches you entrepreneurship. It teaches you pitching, branding, client communication, and negotiation. Trust me, you would learn all these skills on the job. No one's going to teach you. Imagine you have to talk to people about your services, or you're trying to get hired for a role and you have to do an oral interview. You're going to have to pitch yourself. You're going to have to brand yourself. So imagine, okay, so most of us are on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a place that people build their personal brands. And majority of people building the personal brands on LinkedIn are freelancers. What are you trying to do? When you pitch to people and they want to find out who you are and what you do, you send them to your LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn is like your face card. All right. So they go into your LinkedIn and they see what you do, who you are, the kind of things you post, that align to who you say you are, and the kind of things that align to what they need. Then they reach out to you and tell you, okay, would love to work with you. All right. So as a freelancer, I believe you're going to learn every single thing. Now, you're going to learn client communication, because you're going to want to speak to your clients. You're going to want to talk to them about what they need, how they need it, and everything else that goes along with that. So it's very important that we take note of all these things. It's VVIP. VVIP, like seriously important. Now, so imagine you're having to write a proposal to market yourself, or an everyday email as a customer support specialist. You're going to have to learn email management. You're going to have to learn all of those skills. That's one of the lessons Excuse me. That's one of the lessons freelancing teaches you. The lesson is very important. You learn all of this: brand identity, personalization, communication, negotiation. How do you negotiate your rate? Okay, they want to pay me so much. I don't want to earn so much, or I feel that this much is too small. So I'm going to love to earn so much. That's how it works. It's as simple as that. That's how it works. Now, the next lesson, which is also a challenge in freelancing, is inconsistent income. Like I said before, unlike a 9 to 5, you kind of have a salary payday, right? You have, like, say, the 28th of the month, or some companies pay you the first week of the next month, say between the first and the fifth, or the first and the seventh, whatever it is. And you're sure that for this job you're earning 300,000 naira, or you're earning $2K or $1K, depending on what you're doing for them. But as a freelancer, you don't have that kind of luxury. I call it luxury because based on how many projects you hold or you own, that's how much you're going to make. So say one freelancer owns about 2 projects that pay as heavy as $5K per project. So that freelancer is going home with $10K every month. Another freelancer holds 7 projects that pays just a little over $2K or $2.5K every month. Just because this month you did 7 projects doesn't mean next month you're going to do 7. Next month you could slash that to 3, or they could slash that to 3. So you see that your income drops drastically. Now, what's the best way to balance this out as a freelancer? I said it before. Diversify your income streams: multiple clients, side gigs, digital products. You have something up on your sleeves. I remember that there was a time we talked about how to create a digital product here on Hailers Global. So you have to diversify digital products. What are you going to create to make you some money on the side when you're not earning from freelancing? Or what are you going to invest in that's going to make your streams of income keep multiplying even when you're doing small gigs or big gigs? Okay, you have to totally understand and decide that. Now, the 7th lesson is global opportunities. Now, you can connect with everyone and anyone. This is super amazing. You could be in Nigeria and you have a very good friend in Australia, and you guys are talking about work, talking about freelancing, talking about a lot of other things, just because you guys met on a freelance platform. You could work for people all around the world: the US, the UK, Europe, and beyond. Everything from the comfort of your home. Freelancing affords you the opportunity to even travel. I've had a company I worked for before give us a fully expense paid trip to Disneyland. Yeah, right. We went to Disneyland, fully paid trip. I didn't have to book I didn't do nothing. All I just did was carried my passport, got to the airport, and I was out of Nigeria. Disneyland. We went to Disneyland. It was a 3-day team building trip. It was fun. It was amazing. If you wanted to stay beyond 3 days, because 3 days is what they paid for, you let them know in advance so they could book your flight later, like your return flight, your return ticket later. So I stayed for a week. So I did 4 more days, but I had to look for like a more affordable hotel because I still wanted to explore the city, and see some places. So my return ticket was 1 week from the day I left Nigeria. So you can imagine how amazing that feeling was. Now, I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't connect with these people through freelancing online. So that's one of the sweetest things about freelancing. Okay, this is a very huge opportunity for people. So you could just be a nobody in Nigeria, but you could have somebody's or a group of people that have your back out of the country just because you're a freelancer. So we'll move on to the next lesson: loneliness and isolation. I'm not gonna lie, this hits very bad. No matter how happy you are working from the comfort of your home, there are days where you really want to talk to someone. There are days where you wish you had that one friend or that one person that could just come into your space or step into your room and say, "Oh, hello, how you doing? What's up? How you holding up?" You know, or you could just want to hang out with your friends, maybe have ice cream, have cake, take a drink, whatever it is. Or you could just want to talk to someone about how you're feeling, but whatever it is. But isolation and loneliness, it's bad. Okay, freelancing does that. So most times I advise join freelance communities, Upwork groups, LinkedIn groups, local hubs to stay connected. I have like a freelance community that I joined aside from Halos Global. I have some other lots of them actually, but they are online. So I actually have to attend like a few, tech events here where I stay. I attend some tech events, some, AI event, whatever kind of event that makes you interact with every other person doing something techie or something in my field, just to make sure that, I'm out of my space for a little while. Secondly, you could take walks. You could early mornings or late evenings, depending on when you're working. You could decide to take some walks from your house, out on your street, or just probably you could just take yourself out, go to like a little sit out, just do ice cream, do a piece of cake, whatever, to just elevate your spirits, because sometimes you really need to breathe some fresh air and come back to work. It kind of makes you feel more fulfilled, if you ask me, okay, than just sitting stuck in one place all the time. So now, another value or another lesson from freelancing is it gives you an opportunity for lifelong learning. You're constantly learning because freelancing is evolving. So the market is moving fast. Imagine when ChatGPT came out, everyone was all about ChatGPT. People were complaining GPT is going to take over their jobs and all of that and all of that. But I got a job that required I had to know how to prompt ChatGPT. Guess what? I had to go and learn prompt engineering. Yeah, I had to go learn prompt engineering because I was like, okay, I know how to use Chat GPT, like one question and it just gives me one very general answer. But when you're asking me to know how to prompt an AI, it means you're actually telling me that I can't just ask it a straight question. I have to know how to interact with it as if I'm interacting with a human being. Okay. And if you want me to do that, then it means I have to learn how to do it the right way. Okay, I've learned how to do it the right way. And surprisingly, I had to go take a 1 month course on prompt engineering. I didn't apply for that job because um I knew I wasn't gonna get the job. Even if I did get the job, I was going to be kicked out because I didn't know what I was going to do there. Okay. So I had to go learn prompt engineering. Then I found other jobs that were similar to that. I applied and I did get a role. So right now, on one of the projects I handle, ChatGPT is the only thing that man wants to hear when he's talking to you. So if he asks you to do something, or he asks you to write a book, or he asks you to get him like maybe a full-fledged breakdown, or he wants you to do a deep dive into a competitor company or something, he's not asking you to go search Google. He's asking you to go straight into ChatGPT, prompt it, and let it give you all the information you need. And if you do not prompt it correctly, my boss is gonna know. I don't know how he does it, but he's gonna know. So freelancing gives you an opportunity for lifelong learning. You learn every day. Every new job comes with a new challenge, and every new challenge comes with a new learning phase you have to undergo. So that's the sweet thing about freelancing. It's different from the regular 9 to 5. The regular 9 to 5, you go to the office, it's the same monotony kind of work. You pick files from this desk to that desk, or you sit down and design like 10 flyers in a day and you're gone. The same day, you come back the next day, you do the same thing. You come back the day after, you do the same thing. In freelancing, it doesn't work like that. Today, you could come and this client is all up in your face about a very terrible mock-up design that he did. And another client is all up in your face about some social media problems. So you're depending on what you chose, like I said in the earlier parts of this lesson, your freedom and your choices. You can now know that, okay, you're going to have to learn a little bit more about this to be able to solve this client's problem or another client's problem in the future where this arises also, or you're going to learn this for this reason. So it gives you a constant thread of learning. You constantly have to learn. You learn about everything and anything you're doing to make yourself a better version of yourself. Okay. Now, the last lesson is fulfillment and ownership. Trust me, I don't know about anyone else, but I love the sound of my email saying I am hired. I don't know how you do it. I don't know what you're saying. But once I hear that beep from my mailbox, and the first thing I see pop up in my face or as a notification is, you just got hired. I love that feeling. I love to feel that way. Because I know that once I get hired, I get money. Okay, I get money. So whatever it is, as far as money is involved, except except otherwise, if it's fraudulent, but yeah, as far as money is involved, I'm game. So it gives you the sense of fulfillment and ownership. Every win is your win. Like, you learned that skill, so it is your skill. Someone's not gonna take it from your brain. Okay, it's inbuilt. You learned it, you know it, you're using it, and it's working for you. So that's one of the amazing things about freelance. Like, you're not just learning just because of this employer, or you're not just learning just because this person needs you to help them do things or get things done. At the end of the day, you're learning for yourself. You're achieving your goals for yourself. You're building empires for yourself. You're creating a digital product for yourself. You're selling out for yourself. You're having, you're joining trainings. You're developing yourself for yourself. So it gives you a sense of fulfillment. You get to meet people you haven't met before. You get to interact with people you haven't interacted before. You get to go to places you haven't been before. You get to have opportunities to leave your comfort zone and explore other towns, other cities, other countries you haven't been before. And they are all building you. So for me, this is something I would say is the best lesson, if you'd ask me. Aside from the financial lesson, the fulfillment you get as a freelancer. It's different from when you're working for someone and um at some point you're tired of the job because your job is always the same, is monotonous, so you're tired, and the person keeps urging you to come to work, or you don't have a choice. Let me put it that way. You don't have a choice. You have to keep showing up at work because that's what it is. Okay, you can't just ditch work because you need the money. But in freelancing, once you're tired of a particular project, or if you feel like the project is not going in the direction you wanted to go, you could always have a brief meeting with your team or your manager or your employer and tell him that, okay, I don't know why this project is going this way, but I think that I would love us to review the terms of our contract or whatever it is you guys did. And if he or she is not willing to budge, you guys can just end it on good terms and you step into the next role. you know you don't have to tie yourself down to a particular job just because that's what the company wants, or that's the only source of income that you have. Freelancing gives you that flexibility. So I hope that this has been able to help each and every one of us. So I'm going to go back through all of them one by one. So we have the freedom of choice. We have the unlimited earning potential. Okay, you can earn as much as you want. You have flexibility of time and location. You have self-discipline, which is not negotiable. You have to learn that yourself. You're the CEO of yourself, so you are your own boss, if you call it that way. Of course, inconsistent income, which is a little bit of a challenge, but I think with proper financial management, you could get a hold of this. Global opportunities to meet people, work with people of different races, different countries, different careers, and everything that involves you, and global opportunities. Then you have loneliness and isolation, which could be a little bit of a challenge, but I think if you find some, groups that could help you out of this, they could go a long way. You learn for the longest as far as you keep growing and you keep expanding, and you have fulfillment and ownership. Now, Freelancing is a gold mine of opportunities, but it's not without its challenges. Like I said, I've pointed out a few challenges you may come across as an existing freelancer, or as someone that wants to start out at freelancing, or as someone who is already doing freelancing or who has these challenges. You know, you're not alone. Okay. The key takeaway is the good outweighs the bad. So if you treat freelancing as a career, not a hobby, so if you actually take this seriously, you're going to enjoy it and you're going to make the most out of it. Okay. But you have to remember that freedom plus responsibility equals to growth. Freedom, yes, plus self discipline equals to growth. Freedom, yes, plus continuous learning equals to growth. Freedom, yes, plus financial management equals to growth. You have freedom to choose, but whatever you add to your freedom actually either makes you grow or makes you drop. Thank you so much. And I hope this has been a very meaningful session to each and every one of us. I'm Eunice once again, and it was a pleasure to have to run this with you. And I would love to ask you to give me your questions if you have any. Do we have any questions?
Um, Hi, Eunice. Just had a
Hi.
question. Um, and it's really about. I know you talked a lot about self-management.
Mm-hmm.
How do you actually create a schedule for yourself? What tools have helped you in creating your schedule?
Okay. That's a very good question. Thank you so much, Samuel. So, for me as a person, the major tool I use is my Google Calendar. So I have a notebook where I write down everything I want to do in the next day, like today. So let's say today's Sunday. So I already have on my book what I should be doing tomorrow. And this boils down to the number of projects that I currently handle and my own personal tasks, because I have like things I want to achieve for myself. Maybe I'm going to be reading like a chapter of a book, or I'm going to be taking, let's say, a lesson for like 30 to 45 minutes, then plus every other task that comes with, different projects and different jobs. Once I pen them down, I now ask myself, what times do these clients work? So I put my calendar and theirs side by side. So I use World Time Buddy. I'm gonna drop it in the chat just in case someone else wants to know what it is. World Time Buddy. So it's actually a time converter tool. You could download the app on your mobile or you could search for it on Google. So it helps you cross time zones. So since I'm in Nigeria and it's like a GMT plus one, it helps me cross. So let's say I have a client in California, or I have a client in Los Angeles or in Hawaii. Okay, I think Ohio is +5, California should be +8 or -8, depend. I really can't place it right now. But I put that client's time zone across of mine. So if I'm supposed to start that client's task or that client's work by 8 a.m. his time, I'm gonna know, okay, 8 a.m. his time is 5 p.m. my time. So the first thing I do is I block off all the client's tasks on my calendar first. Those are priorities because that's where my money is coming from. That's where my income source is. So after I've written them down, first step, write everything down in a notebook. Second step, cross time zones and block off every client task. It's important. So if I'm going to start work by say 9 a.m. for a particular client, I know that their 9 a.m. is my 2 p.m. I'll block off 2 p.m. on my calendar. So I'm going to do that task say for 1 hour. So I block off 2 to 3 p.m. and I block it off as busy on my Google Calendar. I check on the next task that had to involve a client. I do the same thing. Now, once I'm done with all of the client's tasks, I now have like a skeletal picture of what my day is going to look like. I can now go back to my notebook and prioritize the things I have personally. So the things I'm going to do that are for my own personal growth or self-development, and I have to break them into different bits, into priorities. So if I know that I have to take a lesson tomorrow, I have to run a course, I have to create a digital product, or I have to go to the salon. And now I have to ask myself, okay, so with this other space I have on my calendar, what am I going to do and what am I going to move to Tuesday? What's important? What do I do on Monday because of how much workload I have from my clients, and what do I do on Tuesday? So when I take that into consideration and I have a scale of preference, I could pick maybe 2 out of 5 and block them off on my Monday calendar and move the rest to Tuesday. So what happens is I open another page of my book and write down the other 3 for Tuesday. Okay, so once I'm done with that, every other time we have my bath time, we have my feeding time, we have my lunch, we have my dinner, we have my breaks in between. Let's say I'm taking a walk, we have my gym time. All of those ones will now have to be staggered into the little spaces I have around. Anything that can't get into those spaces that are personal stuff, they get moved. But priority first is put the client stuff online, then you can now decide how you go about your own stuff. So that's those are the major tools I use. So Google and my notebook and World Time Buddy. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And I don't
Thank
know if
you.
anyone else has any questions, but one other question I had was,
Okay.
as far as the client experience, is that something that you pay attention to at all? And how do you ensure a client has a good experience with you from start to finish? And do you do
Okay.
any co-ops or you
Mhm.
know?
Okay, great. So thank you so much. That's a very good question. So, um, client experience. I don't overpromise. I don't tell you I'm gonna grow your social media page to 5K followers in 3 months. I'm not gonna do that. I can't I do not overpromise, because once you overpromise and underdeliver, it becomes a problem. You just give the client a realistic plan. So I'm gonna use this as an example. So I had a client come up to me in this is October, so this is my 3rd month with them. I had a client come to me in July, 2nd week, and they had 601 followers on their real estate account on Instagram, and they needed to get to at least 1K followers, because once you get to 1K, it's like you've broken like a record. So your follower growth is quite easy once you get to a 1K follower. Okay, so they came up to me and was like, how fast can you grow our Instagram in 3 months? I told them that Instagram page growth, especially when it's organic, is boils down to the kind of content you put out, the kind of audience you currently have, and the kind of engagement, how active you are, liking other people's content, tagging other people, going there to comment, a lot of engagement. So I'm not going to tell you I'm going to hit 1K in 3 months. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to hit 1K in 3 months. But this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put these strategies together. And in the first month, after the first month, let me know if you're happy with my results. So I started handling their pages. I started posting content, walking around their pages. And at the end of August, we grew from 601 followers to 700 followers. So we did 100 followers in a month. 100 in a month. And to them, it felt like a huge win because it has never really happened like that for them. So I told them that it's really not about me coming to promise you 1,000 followers and you're expecting 1,000 followers. I'm just gonna work the strategies I would work to make every other client get their results. Then you tell me if you're happy with it. And they were very excited with it. So for me, client satisfaction is more about don't overpromise and underdeliver. Instead, tell them what is feasible, tell them what would work, show them the strategies you are going to use those strategies and get them the best results you can. Once clients see result, they'll stay. Once clients see result, they'll be satisfied. So that's one thing for me about my clients. So once I get it on the job, priority is to show you results. Once I show you results, you're gonna love it, you're gonna stay, and the project is gonna continue. So that's it.
Yeah, that answers my question. So what do you do when you miss
Okay.
a deadline?
Oh wow. Okay, so that's the thing. If I'm missing a deadline because I'm running late for something, or I'm indisposed, say family emergency, I have to go to the hospital, or I have to, probably take my baby to somewhere. It's important, like family. I have to message the client. First things first, I message the client and let them know that I'm sorry, I'll be running late for this meeting, or I'll be indisposed to actually attend the meeting, or I'm not going to be available in 2 hours to work my shift on your job, but I could do it at a later time. And the client approves, then I ask my assistant to block that off on my calendar. So my assistant moves it from where it is to where it's gonna be. So say that is supposed to be, say, 9 to 11. I have a client job and I have to quickly run to the hospital. I'll let them know that, okay, I'm running to the hospital. This is a family emergency. I'm sorry, I can't do 9 to 11. Can I do 4 to 7 or 4 to 6? Okay, great. Eunice, you could do 4 to 6. I'll quickly call my assistant. Please, could you move this to 4 to 6? And I must make sure that before I give the client that information, I have looked at my calendar that I actually have 4 to 6 available. So that's why, aside from blocking things on my calendar is not always full, because anything could happen. You could need to move stuff from where they are to somewhere else. So you need some buffer of time, say 1 hour, 2 hours in between, sometimes like that, where you could always get things done. So if I'm missing a deadline, I inform my client, then my assistant moves the time to the next time. So that's how I manage that.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Sorry, I
Thank
have
you.
so many other questions, but
It's
I
okay.
just wondered if anybody else has any question before we kind of round it up.
I think it's more of note takers in the room.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think that should be it.
Okay.
Do you work as yourself, or do you have an LLC? Do they hire you as a company or as yourself? And what are the advantages or disadvantages of both?
Okay, so I actually have a company, but they don't hire me as a company. They hire me as myself, because my company we're still trying to put a few things in place, like some structures in place. And I'm trying to build like the freelancers I have on board to be able to take on like client projects. So I just have a few people that are just doing different things, graphic designers, social media managers, just some people still, I'm still grooming basically. But if you hire me now, you're hiring me as Eunice. You're not hiring me as FabTech Hub. That's the name of the company. So you're not hiring me as FabTech Hub, you're hiring me as Eunice. So clients hire me as an individual. So we haven't the agency is still in the baby phase, so we're still growing before we start taking on clients. I just want to be sure that we have the right team in place to be able to handle client work. So that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that level
Thank
of
you.
honesty is also good, just to set the right expectations and not commit too
Exactly.
much. Right?
Hmm.
So just want to really say thank you for this session, and I'm sure anyone who's going to watch the recording is going to find it very valuable, as well as those that are actually online or taking notes. So really appreciate your time, and hope to bring you back soon. So
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope this was very helpful to you. And please, if you have any questions, you could just, you know, ask me, or drop it in the Hairless community group, and I'm gonna find it. Just drop it and tag me or mention me. I'll be there. Thank you.
thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. I'll stop the
Okay then. Bye bye.
recording.
Mhm.
We can end the call.